Hi, I'm Brandy McDonald, features and entertainment writer for the Oklahoman and newsok.com. I have some special guests in the studio with me today to talk about the Governor's Art Awards. We have two Governor's Art Award honorees today. Ann Hargis, who's the president of Oklahoma State University, and Scott Booker, who is the CEO of ACM at UCO, and then Amber Sharples, who is the executive director of the Oklahoma Arts Council, who helps run the Governor's Art Awards with the Governor's Office. So welcome to our studio today, and congratulations on the honors.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amber, why don't you talk a little bit about the importance of the Governor's Art Awards and how you get one?
Well, the Oklahoma Arts Council was one of the first state arts agencies in the entire nation to establish the Governor's Arts Awards. We've been having this ceremony annually since 1975, and this is really to honor individuals such as Burns and Scott, who go over and beyond to ensure that the arts thrive in our state, either through education or impacting their communities. Annually, we have a committee that looks at open nominations from across the state. The individuals from our council, who are governor appointed, go through the arduous process of very significant nominations of individuals who really give their sweat equity, their time and their resources to the arts, and then they make that hard decision to come up with the slate of individuals. So this year we have 17 individuals in one organization that are going to be honored for their contribution for making our state better through our arts and cultural assets and industry.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the arts. I'm going to start with President Hargis, since I went to school at OSU, and I gets to go first. Sorry, Scott. Let's talk a little bit about it, because that's been a big focus for you, and your lovely wife will also be honored at the ceremony on the 16th with the Governor's Art Award. So talk a little bit about why you decided to put such a focus on the arts.
Well, I've always thought the arts were important and have tried to be as active as I could. But when we got to OSU, I really was stunned at the quality of especially the music program, and equally stunned at the condition of our performance hall, which was the other direction, just absolutely
stunned in a good
terrible.
way, stunned in a bad way.
We also did not have an art museum, and one of our alums who, typical story, grew up on a farm, tried to major in engineering and flunked, and so went over to art, and now runs one of the biggest art operations in New York. Called me one day and he said, you need an art museum, and I get advice like that all the time. But then he went on to say, and I'm going to help you get one. And that's what we did, and so we just basically redid, with Rand Elliott, redid our old post office downtown into the art museum. But we also needed a new performing arts center, so we got going on that, and then we started trying to do more public art on campus, because it's all part of being an educated person. I mean, it's just should be part of the whole agenda for you in a university.
Yeah, and you guys have some exciting things coming up with that Performing Arts Center, because I think, isn't it the McKnight Center, isn't it opening this fall?
It's opening in October, and it's a state-of-the-art facility, and it has all the technology that you could want. It also has an outdoor plaza with a big screen, so you can actually broadcast what's going on inside, or from Kennedy Center, or a football game for that matter. But what's really making this unique is that we were able to raise thanks to Ross McKnight, raise a $50 million endowment for programming. Okay. So we're bringing in the New York Philharmonic to open the hall in October, and then we'll have 3 Broadway plays coming in this year with lots of other genres of music that'll be presented, and they'll all work with our students. So it's a really neat kind of synergy that we're going to have.
Yeah, and you'll have Sarah Coburn, I guess, in 2020, and she's going to be actually performing at the Governor's Art Awards.
She's one of our grads, and her dad was actually a little brother of mine in the fraternity.
Nice, very nice, lots of connections. Scott, the performing arts is pretty much what you do over at ACM at UCO, so talk a little bit about how you feel like ACM at UCO has contributed to the community.
You know, what's kind of different about our program is that we embrace the entrepreneurial side of art just as much as we do the artists themselves. The idea is that, you know, this is a program that teaches musicians how to be a successful business person as well. And I think the growth of the music business here in Oklahoma City, with places like the Criterion and the Jones Assembly and the Tower, and our alums are all working at all those places, and then also you know, all the new recording studios. I mean, the real reason I'm getting this award is because of what my students have been doing, right? You know, they are the ones who deserve this. But that was the whole point of this, was to create a place where not only can you go to a museum and see art and stuff, but where people that create art, and Oklahoma has such a rich, huge amount of people that have come from here that have gone on to be giant artists. I mean, of course, I manage the Flaming Lips, who are the greatest and biggest rock band on the planet Earth.
I'm not going to argue with you.
He said
yeah, exactly. You know, but you know, Garth Brooks, Carrie Underwood. I mean, there's just this never-ending, you know, amount of talent coming from our state, and they've always had to leave to be able to really become successful. So this program is the first step in changing that, where we become, I don't even want to say the next Austin or Nashville. We're something different. We're going to be not just genre specific like in Nashville. We're going to be about all kinds of music and stuff. And that takes time. This is our 10th year of ACM, and you see all these things growing along. So we're just going to keep going. And I'm so excited about what's going on with music here that I won't stop.
I should follow up, and I feel like Scott does. That I think this award that Ann and I are receiving, it really is to everybody that's worked on the arts, because they've elevated, lots of people have worked on this to get the arts elevated at Oklahoma State, and now everybody, the buy-in started, and then it starts to crescendo.
See, he's being humble because he is a great musician as well.
No, that is a huge lie.
You're a musician, what do you play?
I beat on a piano.
And sings. And
sings, nice, very nice. So, but I think that one of the goals that you had was to create kind of a regional, a little bit along the lines of what Scott was talking about, to create a regional center for the arts in Stillwater, which is obviously in a different part of the state than Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 1 hour door to door.
There you go.
But it really is a big thing. It's like when we brought in American Airlines, and we actually had, you could fly in and out of Stillwater commercial. In fact, there's only 50 in the TSA line on the commercial, and the same guy pats me down every time. You know. but it's like that. It's going to be a regional hub, I think. That's going to, for some things, we'll be able to attract people from Oklahoma City and Tulsa. But and for a lot of things, if you're in North Edmond, it's 40 minutes up there. Mm-hmm. So it's really a venue that you can enjoy, and so it will elevate, I think, not just OSU but Stillwater and even the whole region.
Scott, let's talk a little bit about, since you mentioned that you do manage the Flaming Lips, you've been doing that longer than running ACM at UCO.
Well, yeah, it's hard to believe, but 30 years. I don't look it, I know, but.
You let them wear all the stress, I guess.
Yeah,
so, can you talk a little bit about how that experience working with them sort of taught you about the benefit of having artists stay in the community? Because obviously Wayne has stayed here in Oklahoma City as he's pursued an international career, and I would think most people would say that he's contributed to the arts and culture in the community in a real way.
The Flaming Lips are a small business here in Oklahoma, and we employ 20 to 30 people depending on how much we're doing, touring or whatever, and we bring in a few $1 million every year. And imagine if there were, instead of 2 or 3 bands that were of that kind of size living here, but there was 20 or 30, and that's kind of the goal. And I was really lucky. I met the Flaming Lips when I was the manager of a record store, and I switched from being a manager of a record store to the manager of a band, and I know I was lucky. And I have a degree from UCO in education. So all along this path of doing this, the whole time I'm managing the Lips, I sit there and I kind of think, wouldn't it be great if we could teach people how to do this, right? Because it's a wonderful profession, it's a billion-dollar industry, and there's hundreds of jobs in this. And that to me is what the arts are about, right? It's being able to make a living doing something you love, but also with an end product that makes life better. And all the better if it's right here where we live.
What's fun about this is that actually Scott and I started back about 10 years ago with the Oklahoma Creativity Project together, and everything's kind of grown out of that, and it's been a really wonderful ride. Yeah. In fact, we'll have the Creative Ambassadors dinner here, I think, Monday night.
Yeah.
This coming Monday night.
Amber, I think that part of the goal of the Governor's Arts Awards is to draw attention to the arts in the state. how they're working, who's working in them, what are some of the projects that are going on and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of sort of raising awareness of what the arts are doing here in Oklahoma?
Absolutely. I want to commend both of them. They're being very humble for their contribution to the arts. First, because the arts are a mega industry in our state, a $872 million industry of it leveraging. Artists are small business owners, and they do employ other individuals, and we want them to be here in Oklahoma. So they're essential to our bottom line, but they also enhance our quality of life. I think about OSU and how OSU has been so instrumental in really being a bridge, not for the student body, but using the arts as a community bridge, right? Letting those individuals in the residents of Stillwater and the surrounding community, enhancing their quality of life through student engagement, but then providing these opportunities like the McKnight Center, like the OSU Museum of Art. And then Scott, who's been instrumental for 10 years in looking at the business of the arts. So OSU's training the arts administrators and museum professionals, and then Scott's providing and incentivizing small business owners. And so it's a win-win. We're enhancing, the quality of life of the people of our state. And I want to thank both of them because I think they're being commended, and Ann, for staying in Oklahoma. We see so many successful artists leave, and they really came and they kind of put their sweat equity in making sure our state was better and really empowering future generations to be able to stick around and just continue to contribute to our state through the arts. So the future is exciting, and the bottom line is great for our economy, but it's also great just for communities to thrive, just rural and urban-based communities.
So you have two educators, or people who are running schools,
right.
Educators, who are businessmen educators, maybe. I don't know. But you have a lot of different people who are being honored this year at the Governor's Art Awards. As usual, you honor business people, you honor artists themselves.
Yes.
Every once in a while you honor journalists. I don't know why. But
like you, yes.
2015.
That's right.
So talk about who's being honored this year.
So we have a really wide slate of individuals from all over the state, many of them representing rural communities, because we know that the power of the arts to help with rural communities is great. But we have presidents of universities and heads of music schools, but then we also have individuals like Roselle Tyner, who's a docent. She's dedicated to doing the docent tours at Philbrook. She's personally arranged 20 years of school tours. Wow. So not only going over and beyond her job description of ensuring access to the arts, she personally kind of puts her imprint to make sure that they're accessible to boys and girls clubs in the Tulsa Metro. So individuals who really carve out time and make sure that the arts are accessible. And then we have a whole slate of, we have a business, the Wonder City Coffee in Locust Grove, a very small town, obviously, but the community coffee shop has become the cultural hub. And they bring in Cherokee storytellers and other individuals to provide arts programming. So we see that the arts are happening in your for-profit and nonprofit and your traditional educational spaces, and we're trying to just give a snapshot of thanks with Governor Stitt in the First Family to say thanks for those contributions to our state. So there's a great slate of individuals and that small coffee shop who are going to be commended for their work.
Fantastic. So what are your thoughts, President Hargis, about winning a Governor's Award? And with your lovely wife, obviously.
Well, we've been to this ceremony several times. I don't think we've ever won anything, so this is very, very special in that regard. But I think it's great that I think it's great that it's the Governor's Arts Awards.
Yes.
I think that is very important for the Chief of Staff, Chief of State in Oklahoma to recognize the importance of the arts. And I've told the whole campus, we're all getting this award, so come one, come all.
Right.
And then talk to legislators about more money for higher education.
Yes, and the arts.
While you're there.
That's right.
Always nice to get in, have a reason to come in the door. So, Scott, how do you feel about winning a Governor's Art Award?
Well, I mean, I never, it's an incredible honor. I never would have expected it. And once again, to me, it really goes back to this is, the only reason I'm getting this is because of all the great things that everyone that's been involved with the school and all of our students and alums and President Webb and all these people that have been involved. So I'm honored to receive this for all of us, and it's really exciting. I can't wait to talk to the governor about exactly that, helping the arts grow here in multiple ways. I mean, I know I keep talking about the business, but I'm a huge art collector. I count buying records as
Yes.
being an art collector, and as well as fine art and paintings and things like that. And I think that's a big part of it we don't want to forget too, is that, you know, just making our lives better to be able to hear these songs that literally are the soundtracks to our lives, and see these pictures and these movies that go with you forever. You can't downplay the significance of that. And for our leaders to recognize that, and recognize everyone from people leading tours for children to see this, which is that first step to helping artists create art. That's amazing that this happens.
And you had Roger, as you mentioned, Roger Webb and Don Betts that have been very supportive
Absolutely.
of your program.
President Betts has been amazing
Wonderful.
as well. You know, our UCO has been so supportive of this program from the first moment, and nothing could have happened without that overall support.
Well, in a lot of ways, the arts are a team sport.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, all right. So the Governor's Art Awards, this will be the 43rd, which is pretty
Yes.
impressive. Governor's Art Awards, they're going to be on April 16th. They'll be at the state capitol. They are open to the public, so anyone can come and celebrate these honorees. Also hear a great performance by Sarah Coburn, and just check out some of the art at the capitol, along with some of the construction. But if you want more information on the Governor's Art Awards, check out my coverage in newsok.com and in the Oklahoman. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.